In this problem, we'll use the upper and lower bound test to determine whether there could be real zeros for the function outside the window shown. If so, we'll check for additional zeros with Desmos. So let's look at this polynomial. We see that it has a leading term of 2x to the fifth, which means that we expect to see down, up, end behavior. And this viewing window shows us up, down, end behavior. So we're not going to see the end behavior that we expect until we zoom out. So already, because of the viewing window given to us and the equation of the polynomial function, we expect that there are going to be real zeros bigger than 2 and at least one real zero bigger than 2 and at least one real zero less than -1. But let's see how this is consistent with the upper bound test and the lower bound test. So remember that if the upper bound test fails, that tells us there could be real zeros bigger than the number we check. And if the lower bound test fails, that means there could be real zeros lower in value than the number we check. So if we synthetically divide the coefficients of the polynomial by 2, we see that we have a last line that is not all non-negative. So if we didn't have the viewing window, all this would tell us is that there could be a real zero greater than 2. Since we have the viewing window, we know there has to be a real zero bigger than 2 so that we get down, up, end behavior. Similarly, when we synthetically divide by -1, we see that the last line is not alternating. So this means there could be a real zero less than -1, and because of this viewing window, we know there has to be a real zero lower in value than -1 to have down, up, end behavior. Let's look at a graph of this function. So here we have a graph of this function. Zoomed out, you can see that we have a real zero that is less than -1, and also we have a real zero that is greater than 2. So I'm going to show you the viewing window that we were originally given. So that's about the viewing window that you were originally given. That doesn't show everything that's going on, but zooming out reveals the additional zeros.